This morning, a permanent increase to the job seeker allowance set to be announced for Australia's unemployed. Precious cargo, a second shipment of the Pfizer vaccine lands in Australia as our vaccination programs gather pace. And a moment of silence as the United States records a grim new milestone. 500,000 Americans have now died from COVID-19.
This is 7 News with Ann Sanders.
Good morning. Unemployed Australians will receive a boost to their social security payments, with the federal government set to announce a permanent increase to the job seeker rate today. Live to political reporter Rob Scott in Canberra. Good morning, Rob. Do we know what the new payment will be?
Good morning. Yes, we do, Anne. The government will announce shortly that the dole will increase by $50 a fortnight to $615. The rate pre-COVID was $565 a fortnight or $40 a day. It was doubled at the peak of the pandemic but has been tapering down. The new permanent rate means unemployed Australians will receive an increase of $3.57 a day, taking the payment to $43.57 a day, which will not please welfare groups which have been campaigning for JobSeeker to go up by $350 a fortnight, arguing even at its current elevated rate, the payment is not enough to live on.
The fundamental argument here is about the adequacy for people who are amongst the most vulnerable in our community to be able to survive.
We want to make sure that we're supporting Australians, but also supporting them by giving them the opportunity to work.
The government will also confirm that it has lifted the income-free threshold by $150 a fortnight, which means people will be able to earn more before they'll start seeing a reduction in their welfare payments. Anne?
Rob Scott reporting. Thanks a lot, Rob. Australia's vaccination rollout has been given a major boost, with a second shipment of the Pfizer vaccine touching down in Sydney last night. Chris Friesen joins us live with the details. Hi there, Chris. How many doses were on board?
Yeah, good morning to you. And, well, as promised, the nation's received its second shipment of Pfizer doses after that first shipment last Monday. This overnight they saw 166,000 doses. That to be followed by a further shipment next week of 120,000 roughly doses coming in. They're going to be only rolling out, as we know, in this first stage, 80,000 doses a week between our quarantine frontline workers and also aged care residents and staff. So all the residual doses, Anne, are being kept for the second round, the third week top-up dose or jab. That's being kept aside for that to happen. The Health Minister, Greg Hunt, saying this morning that he's been exceedingly pleased by what has been happening, the results of both the Pfizer vaccine and the AstraZeneca vaccine overseas. Let's take a listen to what he had to say this morning.
It's important that we have consistency. We're always provisioning for the second doses, which is the recommendation of our medical advisors, and making sure that we have contingency if at any stage there were an issue with the supply chain. But I have to say, the consistency of supply has been strong and heartening.
Now, as we saw the opposition leader, Anthony Albanese, also take his first shot of the Pfizer vaccine today, just following on there from what Mr Hunt had to say. New studies from overseas showing that the AstraZeneca's vaccine actually appears to be far more effective the longer the gap between the two doses. They're saying 82.4% efficacy after 6 weeks. Australia is recommending at the moment 12 weeks, so good news there. Also today, Anne, a new system called the AusVax Safety has launched today, a new texting system for anybody that gets their vaccination like they do this morning here at the RPA Hospital in Sydney will receive a text message in 3 days and then on day 8, checking up to see if there's been any side effects or problems. That information will go straight to the regulator, the TGA, a real-time monitoring system, if you like. Here in New South Wales today, no new cases, our 37th straight day. Anne.
All right, Chris, thank you very much. A truck has ploughed into a house near Geelong after crashing into a school bus. The accident happened in the small Victorian town of Inverleigh just after 8 this morning. There was no one on the bus except the driver. One man has been airlifted to hospital in a stable condition with lower body injuries. No one else was injured, and emergency workers are on the site checking the damage to the house. 2 bodies have been found in the burnt-out remains of a townhouse at a gated community in the Brisbane suburb of Browns Plains. It's emerged a woman who lived there had recently taken out a domestic violence order against her former partner. Tamra Bowe has more.
Well, this appears to be a shocking act of domestic violence, one on a woman who was living in fear of her ex-partner. She'd only just moved into this gated community a few weeks ago, and somehow her ex-partner has gained access to the property moments before this fire ripped through the 49-year-old woman's unit here in Browns Plains in the early hours of yesterday morning. Police have set up a crime scene. They've remained here overnight, and they are now investigating if, in a fit of rage, her ex-partner used an accelerant like petrol to douse the unit before deliberately setting them both alight. The property is so badly damaged, though, that it did take police and fire investigators all day yesterday just to gain access. But once they did, late last night, they made that grim discovery. They pulled two badly burnt bodies out from the wreckage. An autopsy will now be performed to determine if they are in fact the bodies of the 49-year-old woman who lived here and her 49-year-old former partner. Just 2 weeks ago, the woman had taken out a protection order against her ex. 2 nights ago, police were called to this exact property amid reports of a violent fight. Domestic violence advocates are now saying that this is just another example of the system that has failed. Another woman here in Queensland who has lost her life at the hands of her former partner.
A pedestrian has died after being hit by a garbage truck at Chester Hill in Sydney's west. The accident took place during the morning peak at around 8:30 this morning. It's believed the garbage truck was reversing at the time. Former NRL star Sam Burgess is facing serious charges after allegedly returning a positive roadside drug test. He was pulled over by police as he drove to visit his children southwest of Sydney. Samantha Brett reports.
Well, Sam Burgess is certainly facing some very serious charges in relation to a number of driving offences. It was yesterday afternoon at about 1:30 p.m. when it is alleged that he was on his way to pick up his 2 children in the Southern Highlands. He was pulled over by police, and it is alleged that he failed a roadside drug test. Police say that he tested positive to cocaine. The 32-year-old was arrested and taken to a nearby police station. That is when it was found that he allegedly has been driving without a New South Wales driver's licence and also was driving an unregistered BMW. Burgess will face Moss Vale local court on the 4th of May. He was there a few weeks ago when he was convicted of intimidating his former father-in-law, Mitch Hook. Burgess has said that he will be appealing that conviction.
1 year on from its first death of the pandemic, the United States has lost over 500,000 lives to COVID-19. US President Joe Biden and other senior figures in Washington have paused for a minute's silence as a mark of respect. US correspondent Tim Lester reports.
For most of the pandemic year here, the White House has avoided drawing attention to America's world-leading COVID death toll. Today is different. Earlier, the Johns Hopkins University tally ticked over 500,000 for US COVID-19 deaths. The White House lowered its flag and the President prepared to speak.
Today we mark a truly grim, heartbreaking milestone.
Sunset in Washington, D.C. Candles on the south portico of the White House. The President, First Lady, Vice President and her husband lead the country in a minute's silence for those lost.
So many of them took their final breath alone in America.
In Congress too.
To rise for a moment of silence.
Reflection on a toll now greater for America than its losses in both World Wars and the Vietnam War combined.
COVID murdered my parents, and it didn't have to be that way.
The country's biggest ever mass vaccination is scrambling.
Everywhere I look, it's so hard. They, say unavailable.
To make up this week the days lost last week as snow crippled much of the country. Delayed 6 million doses, though officials say they've already distributed 2 million extra with this week's deliveries.
It's a temporary setback. We'll get it up to where we need to be by the middle of the week.
New infections have fallen sharply here since mid-last month. Hospital numbers are way down too, and fewer deaths as well. America is clawing its way out of the pandemic, though still expects to lose up to 100,000 more lives by the middle of the year.
Thanks, Tim. Next in 7 News, Prince William gives a reassuring message about the health of his grandfather, the Duke of Edinburgh. And NASA releases extraordinary pictures of its rover landing on Mars.
The supercar season begins with something that hasn't happened in a quarter century. A sprint race at Mount Panorama. Think you know Bathurst? You've never seen it like this. The supercars are back where they belong, here on 7 and streaming on 7+. The Mount Panorama 500, live and free Saturday from noon. Bring it on.
Feel tired or fatigued? B vitamins support your energy levels and help the body metabolize carbs and proteins. The Nature's Own energy range has been developed around B vitamins to relieve weariness and fatigue.
You can be cool, you can be shy, say what you want, say what you like, yeah. Your body talks,
Nature's Own, we're body smart.
Friends raved great things about it. Now I understand why.
Another real review from a satisfied Aussie broadband customer. With thousands of 5-star reviews, all Australian support and an award-winning NBN network, you'll be telling your mates too. Aussie broadband. Can't beat feedback.
Introducing Light and Easy's new Jumpstart Plus. Jumpstart Plus combines the proven weight loss results of intermittent eating with Light and Easy's delicious summer menu, plus a new app to track your success and help you achieve your goals.
I was really surprised with the results that I got with Light and Easy, and they do come quickly.
Every week I've consistently lost weight, and the new Jumpstart program really kick-started that for me.
Fast track your weight loss success in 2021 with Light and Easy's new Jumpstart Plus. Jump online today.
What is greatness? It is constantly reaching for perfection. It's that voice inside, pushing you to go further. And never give up. It's what's inside that makes you great. Colgate Total, made for greatness.
At NIB, we make it easy to find health service providers like dentists and physios in your area. And if you're going to hospital, we've made it easier to connect with specialists that suit your treatment and your budget. Find your solution today with NIB. It's worth it.
Hey, ho! Let's go!
Woolworths Discovery Garden is back. There are 24 seedlings for your family to collect, plant and grow. You'll find lots of new herbs, veggies and flowers. Get one free with every $30 you spend. And discover the joy of growing.
That's why I pick Woolies.
A man's facing a Sydney court after police seized a haul of magic mushrooms worth an estimated $700,000. Police raided a house in Greystanes, uncovering over 46 kilograms of hallucinogenic mushrooms. They also found cocaine and more than $50,000 in cash. A 26-year-old man has been charged with manufacturing a commercial supply of a prohibited drug. The Duke of Edinburgh remains in hospital but is doing okay, according to his grandson, Prince William. Prince Philip is said to be in good spirits, and Prince William says staff at the London hospital are keeping a close eye on him. Amy Parks has more.
Yes, good morning. Well, certainly some words of encouragement there and promising words from Prince William. A bit of an informal update as to the Duke's health. He is, of course, spending his 7th night here in hospital, and that informal update is in place of a formal update from Buckingham Palace, but it does firm up the information we had from the Palace on Friday, which told us that the Duke of Edinburgh would be spending a few more nights in hospital just for precautionary reasons before he returns home to Windsor and, of course, the Queen. In other royal news today, London public events to mark Commonwealth Day, which were planned for early next month, have had to be cancelled. In their place, a televised live event has been scheduled, and that's due to go to air on the 7th of March, which coincidentally is the same day that Harry and Meghan's interview with Oprah Winfrey is due to air in the US.
British Prime Minister Boris Johnson has revealed his roadmap for bringing the UK out of lockdown. Step 1 will begin on March 8 with the reopening of schools. Restrictions will then continue to ease over the coming months, with life virtually back to normal by June.
We're setting out on what I hope and believe is a one-way road to freedom. And this journey is made possible by the pace of the vaccination programme.
The entire country has been in full lockdown since January 4. Following a terrifying engine fire over the United States, Boeing has recommended airlines suspend their 777 fleets. The engine of the United Airlines flight exploded, dropping debris on suburbs in Denver just after takeoff. United Airlines has grounded all 777s with the Pratt & Whitney engines. Airlines in Japan and South Korea will follow suit. A cargo spacecraft carrying food, research material and other supplies has arrived at the International Space Station. The spacecraft is named the SS Katherine Johnson as a tribute to the pioneering African-American mathematician featured in the movie Hidden Figures. Katherine's calculations were crucial to NASA's early space program. NASA has released stunning video of its Perseverance rover landing on Mars. After a descent by parachute, there's a whirl of dust and grit being kicked up by the rover's rocket backpack. The mission is to collect rock samples to bring back to Earth. A microphone on the rover has also provided the first audio recording of Mars, picking up a slight Martian breeze on the surface of the red planet. It'll be an interesting day on the Australian share market as positive sentiment here is confronted by a weak lead from Wall Street. Network Finance Editor Gemma Acton has the details.
Well, good morning, Anne. Yes, we were expecting some weakness after we awoke to news that shares on Wall Street had fallen for the 5th day in a row. It was the high-profile US tech darlings that took much of that pain overnight. Tesla's share price dropping by 9% and Apple's by 3%. Now, that move away from tech stocks has continued here on our markets this morning, with Afterpay, Appen and Zip among the biggest losers so far. Crown Resorts is also dragging the index lower as shareholders react to news of a royal commission into the gaming giant's activities in Victoria. The Aussie dollar cracked through 79 US cents overnight and is strengthening a little more this morning, with many analysts saying 80 cents could soon be within its sights. Meantime, consumer confidence has slipped for the 3rd week running, despite the end of Victoria's snap lockdown. But it's still comfortably above that 100 points line, meaning that overall sentiment amongst Australians is positive. Anne.
In breaking news, controversial MP Craig Kelly has quit the Liberal Party. The member for Hughes has just told the Coalition Party room he will defect to the crossbench. His decision to sit as an independent reduces the government's slender majority to 76. Mr Kelly has come under increasing scrutiny recently for promoting unproven treatments for coronavirus on his Facebook page. Next in 7 News, we'll have sport with Ben Davis, including an injury scare for a star magpie, a deadline set for Cam Smith's future plans. Also, Aaron Finch fails to fire once again as the Aussies are battered by New Zealand.
Keith Urban, Rita Ora, Guy, Jess, live at Brekkie Central, revealing the new voice on Sunrise tomorrow.
Here comes that RSPCA pet insurance feeling. That feeling of getting up to 80% of your eligible vet bills reimbursed. And knowing you can claim up to $20,000 a year with no excess to pay. There are 4 levels of award-winning cover to choose from. Plus, a portion of your first year's premium goes to support the RSPCA. Experience that RSPCA pet insurance feeling today. Call 136 137 or search RSPCA Pet Insurance now.
I want to shout out to my nan in Adelaide. Now that the borders are open, can't wait to come home. See you soon.
Quick shout out to Supermum for being a legend.
We love you, Mum.
Share a Coke and a shout out with all your mates this summer.
Voltaren Osteogel 12 hourly for a joint pain. She'll start exercising again.
With just 2 applications a day, Voltaren Osteogel 12 hourly gives you joint pain relief for the whole day and all night.
Actually, exercise is not so bad.
Voltaren, the joy of movement.
Remember that a lady must prepare herself. Tie a ribbon in your hair, put out the slippers, prepare the children, light a fire. Speak in a low, soothing and pleasant voice. A lady must never complain or ever boast. And always remember, who
is the master of the house, AFLW. This is us.
If your credit card debt is keeping you up at night, move your balance to a NAB low-rate card and save on interest with 0% per annum on balance transfers for 20 months, so you can get your finances and your sleep back on track. NAB, more than money.
This week's Oz Lotto jackpot is bringing so much big Aussie fun, it'll blow your mind. Dive into Oz Lotto's $10 million jackpot this Tuesday.
Play now in-store at thelot.com or on the Lot app.
Being stuck at home is no day at the beach. That's what Stays is for. A private Stays holiday home with a pool right on the beach, away from everything and everyone except each other, and with plenty of room to reconnect. You don't have to go far to get away together. Book the home that makes the holiday with Stays.
G'day everyone. A second-string Australian side has suffered a crushing 53-run loss to New Zealand in the first T20 of their series. Clean hitting from South African-born Devon Conway guided the Kiwis to 184 with a crowd-clearing unbeaten 99 before Aaron Finch's horror form slump continued.
Taken! He hit it so sweetly, thought it might have pierced the gap and gone for four, but he's hit it straight to a fielder.
The Aussie skipper fell for one. He hasn't passed 20 in his last 10 innings. Mitch Marsh provided some resistance with 45, but it was too little as the home side took a 1-0 lead in the best of 5 games.
Not the way we'd like to start the series, but yeah, got that one out of the way now. And you've got to move on in T20 cricket pretty quickly.
The second match is Thursday in Dunedin. Collingwood star Jordan De Goey is set to be wrapped in cotton wool after requiring scans on an ankle injury. The Pies ramp up their pre-season later this week with an unofficial practice match against Geelong on Friday. Vice-Captain Taylor Adams continues to make progress on his damaged hamstring as he aims to be fit for round 1. The playing future of Australia's former league captain Cameron Smith should be sorted this week. 7 News understands the Broncos and Titans expect to be told before the weekend whether one of the best the game's seen will be available this season. The 37-year-old's decision could hinge on whether Storm coach Craig Bellamy takes up a coaching director role with Brisbane, stays with Melbourne or accepts an offer from the Sharks. That call's tracking to be made within the next 48 hours. The Supercars are set to pick up where they left off this weekend, heading to Bathurst to ignite the new-look 2021 season. But it starts with a twist. Instead of the all-day marathon around Mount Panorama, there's 2 250k sprint races set to push the field physically.
I think it's a blessing. I think we've got the most amazing racetrack in the world on our doorstep. I've been saying forever, why on earth wouldn't we come here for a sprint race?
Exactly. It's the first of 2 races at Bathurst this year, both of which are live and free here on 7. NBL leaders Melbourne United got out of jail against the Cairns Taipans last night. Trailing for the majority of the clash, the locals took the lead in the final quarter. Japanese import Yudai Baba took charge, getting the title favourites home 88-81.
Landale straight on 3. That rattles down.
In the earlier game, the Illawarra Hawks hammered the New Zealand Breakers 102-88. And crowds at the cricket in New Zealand. Interesting to see. Let's hope we can all get back to that stage sometime soon.
It'd be good, wouldn't it? Thank you, Ben. Returning now to our breaking news on Liberal MP Craig Kelly quitting. Rob Scott joins us from Parliament House. Rob, good morning once again. You have some more details for us.
Yes, I do. And as you say, Craig Kelly has quit the Liberal Party. He's just told the Coalition Party room that he will defect to the crossbench and sit as an independent. As a result, the government's slender majority will be reduced to just 76. We know Mr Kelly has come under increasing scrutiny over the last couple of weeks for promoting unproven treatments for the coronavirus on his Facebook page. The Prime Minister, Scott Morrison, did tell him to stop doing that as it was undermining the confidence in the vaccine rollout. This, of course, all came to a head after that heated argument with Tanya Plibersek in the corridors here at Parliament House just a couple of weeks ago. So breaking news, just repeating, Craig Kelly has quit the Liberal Party. We hope to hear from him and the Prime Minister later in the day. And
Rob Scott with that breaking news from Canberra. Thank you, Rob. Coming up next in 7's Morning News, the national weather forecast.
The shipwreck that helped write Queensland history. This year marks 175 years since the Coolangatta sank.
I think it's quite likely it is the same wreckage.
Once thought lost in the sands of time.
You wouldn't believe where we found our historic shipwreck.
A maritime mystery. 7 News at 6.
Tresemme bottles are now made with Australian recycled plastics and are recyclable. Tresemme, the same professional quality, restyled for the planet.
Let me be witty, let me be so ditty in every state and city. How about let you do a double take? I don't need your money, I don't need your credit. I'm a superwoman, I let you watch me fade.
Living better can mean living like this. With Medibank Live Better, you can be inspired, find free activities and get rewarded along the way.
Stepping up when it counts. It's what we're made of.
More Australian pet owners and their dogs love NexGard Spectra. The most complete parasite protection in one tasty tube. NexGard.
Woolworths Discovery Garden is back. There are 24 seedlings for your family to collect, plant and grow. You'll find lots of new herbs, veggies and flowers. Get one free with every $30 you spend. And discover the joy of growing.
That's why I pick Woolies.
Being stuck at home is no day at the beach. That's what Stays is for. A private Stays holiday home. With a pool, right on the beach. Away from everything and everyone except each other. And with plenty of room to reconnect. You don't have to go far to get away together. Book the home that makes the holiday with Stays.
It's news happening now. The trusted newsfeed you need. Every story, every day. Connect direct to 7news.com.au.
Now for a check of the national weather. Afternoon showers in Brisbane today. Sydney mostly cloudy and 23. Light showers in Melbourne, 19 the top. 19 also for Hobart, a cloudy day. Cloudy in Adelaide, 22 today. Perth a hot 38. And a possible storm for Darwin, a top of 31 degrees. And that's 7 News to now. We'll keep you up to date right throughout the day. Our next bulletins are at 4 o'clock this afternoon and at 6 o'clock. I'm Ann Sanders. Thanks for your company. Have a lovely day. See you tomorrow.
That caused a little bit of rock.